All right, so heading up to the high point of Montgomery County. I'm joined by Kurt. Kurt, what's your last name?
Bresswein with a B.
All right.
Nice to meet you.
And we're heading up this Boy Scout trail, and there's just some gorgeous, gorgeous boulders. I got a close look and see what they are, but I think we might be in a volcanic belt here. You don't know, do you, Kurt? Like geology, like...
Maybe like glaciers. I'm not sure.
I gotta get home and look. But anyway, really cool hike up here. There's still a good amount of standing dead ash that Kurt and I were looking at on the hike in. They're dead, but they're standing. And some real big chestnut oaks. And just some really cool boulders. And a lot of poison ivy. A lot of poison ivy. So we're staying right in the middle of the trail. But I believe the hill itself is called Mill Hill. And kind of a short hike up. Now this looks to be quarried out. Yeah, that's man-made. Let's see if we can figure out what we just walked up on. So we have some kind of an interesting quarry site here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that ain't natural. Try to figure out the... Really don't understand the lay of the land too well yet, but... Could just be for construction purposes. Maybe they found a good vein of stone for cutting. We made it, I think. Congratulations, that's nice to hear. You've reached the highest point in Montgomery County at 715 feet above sea level. So now we're gonna make that about 755 or 60. I'm going for the top of this Basswood right here. Be the first Basswood I climbed at a high point. Might be the first Basswood I've ever climbed now I think about it. And what's sad is this skeleton over here is an ash, and that was the high tree. You can see clear as day, that was the highest tree at the highest point here. So I was considering climbing that, but she's pretty well dead and she's covered in poison ivy vines. So those two things together, I think instead I'll go up the Basswood and get a picture of the ash. Got an interesting hickory here with the smoother bark. I'd say that's probably bitternut, a bitternut hickory. We got some turkey vultures, shagbark hickory, unless it's a shell bark. I have to count leaves to tell the difference. Shell bark has leaves of 5s and 7, and shagbark has leaves of 3 and 5. 5. All right. Inconclusive. All I'm seeing are 5s. So, and then unfortunately a whole lot of this non-native firebush. Can you see the stems are the way to identify this stuff? Firebush is, I believe, Asian, although it might be European. Do you recall, Kurt? Firebush is native to either Europe or Asia. I just forget. So it's invasive.
Definitely invasive.
And we had what looks like a cedar. It was here at one point in time. Yeah, there's another cedar. That one's still alive. All right, so I'm gonna try and get up this Basswood. We'll check in at the top. Little decay setting in there, but nothing major. All right. Hey, buddy. Yo. I'll get a picture of you in a minute. It's a foggy day, but I got a decent view. That red Montgomery County soil off in the valley. I'm in a Basswood today. This is the first Basswood I've ever climbed in my life. And I don't mean just at a high point. I've just never been up a Basswood. Basswood's a really cool tree. It has excellent wood for carving. So people that do like duck decoy carvings, They love basswood. And I was surprised to see, I might be a little outdated in my data, but I remember looking at an annual like Pennsylvania lumber production graphic, and it said like 10% of Pennsylvania's lumber, at least for the year I was looking at, was basswood. That really surprised me. I think it's one of those species that, like, when you get into it, like here in Montgomery County, and I've seen a lot in Berks County, when you get into it, you get into a big, beautiful trees, and so you get a lot of board feet when you harvest them. Here's what's kind of sad. So the biggest tree, I don't know if you can see, the tallest tree here was this beautiful ash next to me. But it's dead now from the emerald ash borer. And I thought about climbing it today because it's kind of right on the edge of it's probably still climbable, but it's covered in poison ivy at the top. So between those two factors, I didn't want to push it, but I could have gotten about 5 or 10 feet higher in that tree. And that would have been the tallest tree here in Montgomery County, but now we'll go with this guy, this big old basswood. Or some people call them American linden trees. Got a eastern red cedar right next to me. What I believe is a bitternut hickory. And some chestnut oak. Another basswood. Red oak. I just heard my favorite bird, the wood thrush. And wood thrush prefer deep forest. They're not typically a backyard bird. You're gonna find them in places like this where you're deep with acres and acres of woods. So if I shut up, maybe you'll hear the wood thrush again. Thank you, Basswood. This was my last climb in the entire southeastern part of the state of Pennsylvania, Montgomery County. Approximately 715 feet above sea level down there at the ground level anyway. And after today, I have 2 to do. This was climb 43. I got 2 left to do in the northeastern corner, and everything else is in the western part of the state. I'm not looking forward to going back down into that jungle of firebush and greenbrier. Hey!
Wow, that was pretty awesome.
Thanks, buddy. All right, couple cool things. One is, as the ash tree is going extinct, we just aren't going to get to see the bark of the ash tree for many more years. So this is a dead ash. And honestly, this is not incredibly typical of what an ash tree's bark looks like. This is kind of funky. Looks more like a black gum or something, but I wanted to capture that. And then the other thing is this pit. We got like a tailing here, and I'm on a tailing. And you can see somebody was digging in the bedrock here. So what I'm still trying to figure out is, are we dealing with like iron ore? Or were they trying to get slabs for millstones? You know, for grist mills, for grinding grain. Considering this is Mill Hill, I think it's a possibility that they were trying to get perfect stones for slabs for grinding. But I also think, here, we'll go up here, you'll see some of the color of the soil. I also think my iron ore theory is at least potential. Look at the color of that soil where that root ball blew up. It's real orange. You know, in other words, a lot of iron. Hematite. Although I guess if it's down where we are, if this is a volcanic belt, it could be magnetite too. So I'm just, geologically, I'm a little turned around. I'm 2 hours from home. Gotta watch this poison ivy, but check out 2 drill holes. Got a drill hole there and a drill hole there. So again, we don't know if they were quarrying for millstones or for iron ore yet. I got some homework to do.